yeah. We do what we always do. Oh, hello. Hi, I'm Kia Baker, and this is Hot Topics Live and the show, the podcast. And I am the creator and host of the Female Veterans Podcast and Women Warrior Stories for the Veterans Channel. That is finally done. So go check it out on theveteranschannel.com. And I'm a success coach or a performance coach at London Real Academy. And next to me, I have this beautiful, inspiring, magical queen.
Gloria Goldberg. Who else? Hello, everybody. I'm so happy to be here again. Well, my name is Gloria Goldberg, like Kia introduced me, and I'm the. You see how when you lose train doing something. I'm the founder and the co. I'm the founder of the podcast Unbreakable Life with Glory, where I talk about depression, anxiety, and PTSD, and also the founder and the host of the bilingual show, The Gloria. That also where I talk about a lot of different stuff.
A lot of different stuff. I like it. I like that. I like that. So, Gloria,
Yes.
welcome back.
Thank
I
you.
started the year of 2021 with you next to me, and I could not think of a better way to finish the year with you next to me.
Well, Kia, I'm so happy to hear that, and I'm so happy and honored for you to ask me that. That means a lot to me about the respect and the honor and the love that you have for our relationship. That when we need to part ways, that when we start together, we start together, and when we need to part ways, we part ways for the moment where our hearts seal together. And I'm so honored every time you ask me, come to Hot Topics, and I say yes, yes, yes. I always get the moment and the time for you. Of course, who doesn't?
Aw, thank you so much. I just love seeing you, and it feels like home when you are here. So let's catch up. What have you been up to? It's been what, since my birthday? No, it's been since the show with Angeline that
Yeah,
you
but
were on.
it was not the last one. Was the Veteran Day?
Ah, Veterans Day. That's right. With
Yeah,
Simon. I
right.
liked that episode.
Well, Kia, well, I remember that I was saying that I was changing a lot of things on my life. Now I'm gonna be open, and because I'm getting divorced.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't want to say before, but it's like now I'm getting divorced. It's being very, very difficult to separate and change your life and realize that the person that you are with, it doesn't match anymore with you, or it doesn't your energy doesn't match with you. And doesn't mean that he's bad or I'm bad or whatever. It doesn't mean that we get sometimes in relationships to a point that we need to move on in life, because I don't believe when you marry and on or to until the dead. Like, remember when you go to church and marry you and say until they die separate
Death
us.
do us part.
Right, exactly. I know
Mm.
that in Espanol, so I never I never hear that in English. So yeah, like that's not true, because people change all the time, and I feel that we both change. I grew up a lot, and we couldn't understand each other anymore, so we decide to move forward with the divorce. Now I'm writing my book. I'm in my fourth chapter right now. Where I got the news that I'm gonna be a grandmother. So now I'm looking for my new place to live. That is being very hard here in Florida to find a property, but the life goes on, Kia. We keep going, we keep going, we keep going.
Yes, I feel that. Well, you know me, I have been through the divorce process. Mine will be wrapping up in the upcoming months. And so here we are, some divorce girls, like, restarting our lives and starting over. And you're right. Like, I think the intention is for it to be, long term. But
Yes.
shit happens.
Yes.
Life happens, and sometimes you got to hold your boundaries, and you sometimes you grow apart, and there's a million things that can happen that could cause a relationship to break apart. And you know what? You have to find what's going to work for you and create a new life that you're going to love when that
Exactly.
happens. And I'm so happy to hear about your book and your grandbaby. That's exciting.
Yes, I'm so happy too. And going back, Kia, to divorces and separation. Remember when we start Hot Topics, you was going through that
Mhm.
process,
Mhm.
and I remember that you was pushing through. You're doing your podcast,
Mhm.
you're doing the show, and in private, you was like already
Going through
like
hell.
going to up, like crying and
Mhm.
miserable. And I always like let's keep going. And then I knew, Kia. Remember, I knew something was gonna happen to me the same,
Mhm.
but we didn't discuss that. And year later, I think it was right. Year
Mhm.
later, I start also my process. So
Mhm.
it's very difficult. The other day, I saw a girl. I hear a girl saying, "Oh, in social media, the only thing they talk about is the good things that people goes through." And I said, listen, where are you been? Because our show and many of the shows of the people that I deal with, they have podcasts that they talk about this, like
Mhm.
depression, anxiety, divorces, verbal abuse, all this. Look what happens to Angeline Constantine, that violence, domestic violence and stuff. And I said, maybe you are in different route, because I hear all the time. And I said, maybe you have to tune in a little bit more and to know more things about life, because of course the information is out there, and we are coming here to tell what exactly happened to a woman when we are getting divorced. It's a lot of it take a toll from us. I feel that I age like 2 years.
Well, it's definitely not easy. And there's all sorts of divorces. I mean, I met probably 5 women during the time of my divorce. It's not quite finished yet, but it will be probably around March or April. And but the process of saying this isn't working, to figuring out,
Yes.
what the next steps are, and then trying to see if it can work, and then realizing it's not going to work, and it's like these cycles that you go through. And I actually met probably 5 different women going through 5 different types of divorces, ranging from mine, though it was incredibly difficult and excruciatingly painful for me to go through because it was sudden. I didn't realize that I
Yes.
was not happy until after I decided to get the divorce. So there was like an inciting incident that happened that made me go, oh my God, this isn't going to work for me. The boundary has been crossed for me. I can't stay in this situation. I can't keep my kids in this situation any longer. And the irony of that is my decision to do that actually changed my ex, and he's so much better. If he was more like he is now, we probably would have stayed married, but it's too late.
If that's what happens, I don't understand why.
The divorces was the catalyst for him to improve himself. But it's funny, and I'm pretty sure every woman and probably some men can relate to me when you're saying, this is not working, we need to change this, I need you to do this, like, and you're pleading with them to make these changes because you can see that the relationship is being destroyed, and they will not do it while you're in it with
And
them.
you, Kia, you make a very good remark, because I'm not judging men in any regard, but mostly women, we hold together. We like things to be together. We try to work so much for the marriage, and we say a lot of stuff, and we fight a lot of stuff, and we just point them what we want, what we don't like, and they don't get it, it's like a war of egos. And you get to a point as a woman, like, I'm so fucking tired of this shit. I just want to move on. And when you move on, then they're like, oh, this is not right now is serious.
Hmm.
Oh,
Hmm. Then it's
now,
like, well, what do I need to do? But
yes,
sometimes it's a facade. Sometimes they make the minimum effort, and this could be male or female,
yes,
masculine or feminine energy. Put yourself where you belong, I guess. But it's it's a facade, and so they make the minimum effort to try to keep you, to make you stay, to convince you to stay. And then after a period of time, because it wasn't a change that they implemented for themselves, they did it just to keep you or just for whatever reasoning, then it kind of crumbles away. And eventually the old behavior resurfaces. And then you find yourself in a cycle, whether it's an abusive cycle, whether that's financial, mental, emotional, or physical. It is a type of cycle that you end up in. And for me, I have gotten really good at, I apologize if you hear my kids. They are
they're
playing
playing.
video games and screaming and just having the time of their life because they're both sick. And so I
Oh my
am
God.
managing to try to stay healthy, because if I go down as a single mom, Christmas goes down. It's like the Titanic, it's going to sink. Okay. And so they're going to be like, why didn't Santa wrap these gifts? Like, or why they're just gifts under the tree and they're not wrapped and there's no food. Okay, because I'm in bed sick, right? So I'm trying my best to stay healthy, stay away from them, but yet also take care of them. So they're having fun playing anyway on their break. So you end up in this cycle, and you are trying to figure out, how do I get off of this ride? Like, it's, and the same thing happened in my divorce. It was cycles, but the cycle just changed to a different cycle, right? It became a cycle of, him trying to get back together with me, thinking about it, entertaining the idea, then something happening and me like seeing a red flag and then going no, and then him getting angry about it, and then being really unpleasant, you know and we lived in the same house for 2 years during the process of the divorce.
I've been already 9 months, 9 months, and it's very hard.
It's hard.
It's
This is like the
hard.
hardest way to if you are contemplating leaving your partner, girlfriend, boyfriend, spouse, significant other, the easiest way to do it, is I've done it both ways, is to just leave,
Exactly.
or just have them leave if you can. I was always willing to leave because it's easier. It's hard, but it's also easier because you got to find a place and all of these details you have to work out. But I was always willing to leave. My first marriage, I left, um, and I just left. I packed up and I left. Um, with this one, because we have children, I wanted to try to do a conscious uncoupling, which I saw from, I think, Catherine Woodward. And she has a TED talk, and she talks about how to break up in a way that it is less emotionally damaging and traumatic, um, as for you, and then as you carry that baggage into your next relationship. And so for me, it was more about the kids and having two children. How can we make this less of suddenly their dad is gone, suddenly their mom is gone? Like, how can we make this simple and easy and less stressful for the children? And
Yes.
so I opted to try it that way. And he and I negotiated and we made a deal and we started putting that process, but it didn't make the breaking up, living in the same house, any easier. That was one of the hardest things I've ever had to do in my entire life. But now we get along great. And I'm sure some part of him would like to get back together with me, though he knows we're not going to. But we have made it. I mean, just as recently as last summer, we were still having very bad difficulties. I was just done. I was like ready to throw in the towel on trying to be friends, trying to co parent, in a
Right.
pleasant way. I was just like, good. And I think that made him go, oh shit, I'm going to fuck this up. Right. I, I want to be able to co-parent with her and do these things the way she said she thought that we could do them, because we're taking a vacation in June
Hmm.
with our kids to see their grandmother, their abuelita in Florida. And we can do that together, but only because we went through this nightmare of trying to, and I'm sure he has his own side of the story,
Of
right?
course.
But
Yeah, of course.
trying to go through this process of breaking up in a civil way as best as possible. And I mean, it got better after he moved out, but by when he moved out, the kids were adjusted to it. And it still took months after that of him having his own place for he and I to like sort of get into a pattern, a new pattern, a healthier pattern of communicating and co-parenting and, putting the kids first. And, and then from there we were able to develop a friendship, but that doesn't happen for everybody. And I went through
Yes.
a lot of hell to, I was so determined to get it there.
Exactly. And you mentioned something before that, when you talk about patterns, when we are like in a relationship and we get into a fight and then we make up, we make up again, and the other person, they said to you, I'm gonna change, I'm gonna do this, and then you as a man or as a woman and start like, oh my God, I'm so happy, things are gonna change, oh my God, we're gonna save this relationship.
Mhm.
How many
Get
times,
hope.
Kia, how many times I did that, like hoping, many times, countless time. Oh, Kia,
Maybe a
I
year,
think this better. Oh, Kia, I'm so happy. I went to
maybe a
Costa
year.
Rica and I come back. Oh, Kia, my marriage is safe and all the stuff, until it's like we can't do it anymore.
My grandfather used to say a saying about when a woman has had enough, she's had enough.
Yeah,
She'll take and take and take and take and take. But one day it's the straw that breaks the camel's back. And I think guys are like that too. It's just different. Um, actually, I've been single technically for almost 5 years. And even though we lived together, we were in separate rooms and living separate lives, but in the same house, right? For the most part.
it's super
Um,
hard. It's super hard.
super hard.
Super
Like it's super
hard.
hard. It was really hard. And one day I'll talk about it more because I'm sure a lot. Matilda said to me one day, she was like, I think a lot of people would be curious to know how you did that and how you got through it and like the real talk, the real shit behind, because you talk about it a little bit but you never really go into detail of what that was like for you. And
Exactly.
one day I will talk about
Yes,
it.
but
But
Kia, and you know what? I touched this subject because this is Christmas time, holiday time, that
Mhm,
a lot of women and a lot of men, they're very depressed and sad.
mhm,
And today I
yeah,
was doing a line in a store, and behind me, it was a man on the phone, and it looks like he was talking to a woman, and he said, "Are you sad? You sound depressed." And it looks like the women say yes, and then he said, "Well, do you see him? Oh, you are sad because he's not going to be with you for Christmas." And then when he said that, I remember myself, and I remember you, that it is kind of, in your case, you already is used to already, but it means because you're already in the process of divorce more advanced than me. But this is going to be my first Christmas without my husband, and it's like, it takes like, oh, you know what,
it
it
hits you.
takes, it takes a little bit of sadness, a little bit of like, wow. But at the same time, you need to keep going, you need to keep going, you cannot be, yes, you can be sad a little bit, but also you need to recognize that, remember what you went through, remember that the relationship doesn't work. So this is just a moment, just as Christmas, and January and February will be the same. So that's why I touched the subject today.
When you get married, right, you have a whole year of firsts. When you have a baby, it's your first Mother's Day, it's your first birthday as a mom, it's your first
Yes.
Christmas as a mom. When you get a divorce, you have a year of first too. Your first
Yes.
Christmas alone, your first birthday alone, your first, and you talk about depression and anxiety on your shows a lot, and you help people feel better, which is what I love. And like you said, this time of year is difficult for a lot of people, especially a lot of people like you who are having their first Christmas single. right?
Yes.
For
Yes.
me, it's been a minute, but I will tell you, my first Christmas without my husband, we had gone to London and we met in London.
Oh, yeah.
And
We have fun.
we had so much fun. And I came back from London and it was Christmas time. It was time to prepare for Christmas. Well, my ex was like, our first Christmas broken up, we were still in the same house and it was awkward as fuck. Like it was horrible. Like we were there, just it was weird. So the second year, he was like, I'm going to Miami to my family for Christmas. And I was like, okay, peace out. I got this. And so but and this is what you think, right? Even the strongest of the strong, right? You think I'm thinking, okay, I got this. I get back from London, I have some sort of flu. Could have been COVID, was right before COVID popped off. I
Yeah.
don't know, but I have the worst flu I've ever had in my life. I hadn't had the flu in like 20 years. And then I had this thing I got in England and I came back just dying. And I came back sick, dying, you know, and I had my kids and I had my pets and couldn't like it was Christmas time and I was working because I had to work because it was Christmas time.
Right.
And so I was like working with the flu. I was trying to get Christmas ready and I just felt like I was failing. And then on top of that, it was our first Christmas apart. And I thought it's gonna be fine. But when it actually came to it, it was so difficult. Like I definitely shed tears. I was
Of
really, thank
course.
God for my friend Mai. My friend Mai was I went to high school with, and she came for a visit. And I was like, it's not a good time. My house is a mess. I feel like crap. Like, it's not a good time for me to have a guest. And she was
Right.
like, she's a nurse. And she was like, oh, I just need a place to stay for one night. And I don't have anywhere else to go because this was the plan. And I was like, oh, I can't let her be in the streets, right? So I had her come, and she came and she took care of me. She cleaned my house. She took care of my kids. Like she helped me put the Christmas tree up. Shout out to Mai. She was really incredible. And every time when Christmas comes, I think of her now because of how she came and she just totally helped me. And by the time she left, I was feeling a little bit better so that I could sort of carry on. But it was hard. It was hard.
It is, and I know right now there's a lot of people are getting divorced. Like you turn around, and from 10 people, 8 people are getting divorced,
Mhm.
and it's like, wow, this is an epidemic. It's like,
The
this is
divorce
like
epidemic.
yes, this is Kobe 22.
One of what the aspect of COVID no one's discussing the divorce rate.
Exactly, that's worse.
Well, but I mean, honey, when you think about it, like that pandemic, everybody's in lockdown. I actually think it's good. I mean, I know divorce, it's perspective. All right. Like
Right.
you can stay married and miserable or in a
Mm,
relationship and miserable,
yes.
or you can recognize that what it is and you can be brave and start a new life for yourself. And I think there's a lot of beauty in beginnings, right? It gives you a blank canvas to create whatever you want and manifest the kind of life that you want. It takes courage to say this isn't working. It takes courage to defy ages of belief of this dictation of society that once you get married you have to stay married
No
forever,
way. No
right? Of
way. That's
course
not
that
true.
that would be nice. I'd love that. I'm not saying I wouldn't like to get with somebody and it just work out and then we die and we're still married. It happens to people. I know it happens. That would be lovely, but I'm not gonna force it. If a guy's beating my ass, I'm not staying with him,
No.
or breaking my heart over and over, or mentally abusing me, or another form of abuse or mistreatment. Maybe it's not as severe as abuse, but financial. If someone is, using me for my money or spending all of my money or withholding money from me so that I can't have a better quality of life to keep me poor, to keep me under their control,
Right.
there's a lot of things that are going to happen out there that are bad, and you have to have the strength to go, I deserve better. It's not
You know,
always easy.
I know. My coach writer, he's a comedian.
I remember you telling me.
And then he said, Gloria, you don't think that everybody should renew the marriage every 15 years? Like when you're getting closer to 14 and a half and say, well, are we gonna renew this? No, yeah, no, I don't want to renew. And then the other person would say, yes, please, let's renew. And then say, no, the time is up, and I don't want, I don't want to corrupt the law. Like, you know.
No, but I like the idea. I think it was a pagan ritual where they because there wasn't marriage the way we know it now. Obviously they were pagan, but it was a ritual where they sort of renewed their commitment to each other every year, and I sort of like that.
Every
Like, check
year.
in, like, hey, how's things going for you? Like, how are
But
you? Are you happy? Like, obviously our happiness comes from within, and we are responsible for our own happiness. This is something I learned in my divorce process too. Not to say, oh, she's not making me happy, or for a guy to say, I can't make her happy. It's not your job to make her happy. Her happiness should come from within her. What you do is contribute to her happiness. Okay. As friends, when we connect, I want to contribute to your happiness, but it's too much responsibility for me if you come to
yes,
me like, I'm not happy because you're not behaving a certain way or doing certain things. I'm not happy. Well, that's something you have to look within yourself for. Now, someone's behavior can kind of diminish your happiness, right? But they're not solely responsible for it.
well,
So,
you need to find someone to add you,
mhm,
to impose you, to adore you, to love you the way exactly you are. And of course, we have defects. We are very imperfect. We have a lot of things, a lot of issues, but also to even deal with that issue, be compassionate with that issue, you understand that issue. And the war of egos is the one who
mhm,
destroy everything.
mhm, mhm. You have to, I think, be able to, and I mean, both of us have been married a few times, so I think we've learned a few things, and we've been living a
Yes,
while, which makes us mature and wise. Okay. So,
we are pro. We are pro.
so I mean, if you learn from your mistakes, because there's no losses, right? So we just learn. And the lessons I've learned over this life with relationships is, being in a commitment is a choice. Everybody has a choice, and you choose it every single day. That's why I like coming after a year after you get married on your anniversary, right? So on your anniversary, you say, or where are we? How are we? What can we do to be happier together? Where it's like a business deal. Like, where's our weak links, and what can we do to improve so that our life together, our foundation grows more solid, right? And I love to do that every year because it's sort of like checking in, and then you go have the year and you do it again and you work together, and then you check in again because it's a choice. And one of the things my ex used to say to me was, oh, before I filed the paperwork, we're still married. We're still married. And I would say
It's
to
like
him,
me. We still in that process.
then I would say, well, yes, technically we're still married,
Yes,
but marriage is more than a piece of paper. It's way more than that. That's just paper. That's just the legal system, what we have to do so we can buy a house, or I can go visit you in the hospital if you get hurt, right? Like, it's for financial and, governmental type of things. But
right.
a marriage is not about that paper. A marriage is a commitment between two people to show up for each other every day, you know and when somebody opts out of that, and we make this choice to show up for each other every day because of the way we treat one another. And when one of us is not treating the other in a way that we agree with, right, we have the choice to
Yes.
choose not to continue every day. And what
So
people
yeah. When people, yeah,
well, what I was going to say is, when people wake up in the morning, they don't realize a lot of times that the behaviors of the day before of their partner have diminished that choice a little bit. So what happens over time is there's like little that choice diminishes and diminishes and diminishes because of behaviors, you know, and until one day you don't choose that anymore.
So I want to ask you this, talking about what you're saying. So I read the other day that when you love somebody, you need to love their imperfections.
Well, that I think that's true. I think that it's about acceptance, and I think that everybody comes with a little bit of bullshit. Nobody's perfect.
No,
And I think a lot of times you just don't fully accept the person. And I'm not talking about abusive people. I'm talking about the normal everyday person. It's There are imperfections, and sometimes people don't fully accept that person. They try to change the person, and they like maybe these qualities about them, but if they just had these few different qualities, and so you try to change them and improve them. Or a lot of women, and probably even men, fall in love with potential. And so it's then when you fall in love with someone's potential, you're not really falling in love with them for who they are. Thank you, George. Then falling in love with them for who they are, you're falling in love with them for who they could be, you know and I think it's a decision. You once you A lot of times we rush into these relationships, you know
I make that
lots
mistake. I make that mistake,
we
rushing into
the
relationships.
passion the
Yes,
passion
the
is so
passion.
much, and we think, or the infatuation, and we think, oh, this is love. And a lot of times women are really guilty of this, of being like, oh, this is the one, this is the one, this is like our brainwashing, because we got to find the one, right? And I'm sure we all have a one. We have many ones that could be the one, though, because it's all ultimately a choice. And and then you start to realize, after the smoke clears, because it was such a whirlwind, that, oh, like,
The,
maybe no.
and you know what? And even the red flags, you don't even see them because you're so like,
Oh, you saw them, but you explained them away. You
yes,
justified them or excused them or ignored them, but you saw them. And people tell you who they are really early, and they show
quick.
you really early. And I think no one can hide. One of my favorite YouTubers, she always says, not Missy, she always says, no one can hide 6 to 8 months. So take it slow for 6 to 8 months so you can see what you're dealing with. And usually, not always, but usually people can't hide that long. And I
And
like that.
yeah, me too. I also hear from women that like there's like you go out. I don't know if when you go out there in the area that you are, here there's a lot of women. You go to a restaurant and you see 10, 15 women alone in a table and a very few men, I would say. And then the conversation is because there's no men, there's no men, there's no men. And other women start like getting like anxious, like, what you mean there's no men? So they get attached of the men that they have, because supposedly what the other women are saying, there's no men there. But the point is, you cannot categorize that in that way, because you don't match with every man, and every man doesn't match with every woman. And you know what, and not every woman or every man have the same lack of every woman or every man. So for me, a lot of women get into that in the cycle, like, oh, there's no man, so I have to get used to this one. This one have this, but I'm okay with that. And sometimes they're abusive, they are sarcastic, they are narcissists. There's a lot of things, and they say, no, I can deal with that, he's like that or she's like that, because it's
Hmm.
both.
Like, he helps pay the bills, or you'll find a reason, you'll justify it to yourself to stay. And that, especially when you get to like around 40,
Yes.
and the idea, especially for me, the idea of leaving my marriage, I mean, it did cross my mind in that week where I was trying to decide what I was going to do, whether was I going to I felt like I needed to leave immediately, but I didn't want to be hasty, so I thought about it for like a week. And I that thought crossed my mind, like, hey, guys my age they're marrying 20-year-olds. Like, am I gonna, like, you know what I mean? I mean, I'm holding up. Right. But I'm kind of like, and I like to have fun, but still I'm
But
my
you
age.
you also be surprised. There's a lot of men also don't like that young. Like for
It's true.
example, old even young men too. Sometimes they like older
Mhm.
women, and sometimes the older men they want not old, very young women because young women, what they say, it requires more time, more physical, and sometimes they can't. So I would say it's more like when you're born, it's already you're already predestined to be married or not be married. I would say that, like.
I don't know, but what I do know is I don't think that anymore, because what I've learned is that a lot of men in my age group have done the younger girl thing and they're good on that. Like, it maybe didn't go so well for them. Like, I don't I don't really, because I look younger than I am, I got a lot of young men. I get a lot of men in their 20s that are interested. And whether they know my age and they just want an older woman because I'm more settled in my life, I have things together, you know what I mean? I'm also very nurturing and they like that sort of motherly energy, but not a mother, you know what I mean? So
Mm-hmm.
whether it's because of that or whatever reasons that they just, there's also physical, sexual reasons why older women are so appealing to younger men. So whatever the case may be, there's that.
Because, or the older women are tired for the quickies. They want longies.
Stella's trying to get her groove back. But but for me, it's not a fit. I sort of gave that a shot a couple of times, a little bit. I sort of dipped my toes in the waters of younger men, and it's not for me. Right. So I like someone in my age group who knows, my sense of humor and my jokes and the things that I watched when I was a kid. And we have a lot of things in common that way. Right. I just dig that, but I also never like anybody. And so that's the problem. So it's that's where my problem comes in. I have to be more open, I think.
I like everyone. Like, so I don't have no problem to find one.
I know, I just have to see what I like. When I see what I like, I have no problem going for it. But the difficulty is into the seeing what I like.
Remember,
So,
I remember I told you there's a lot of women that are picky, that they said that they want the men this way and that way. And to me, I say there's some stuff that are easy to fix. If the guy don't have a good teeth, you send it to the dentist. And the guy doesn't dress well, you nice and with love. You say, I want you to dress this way. You help him to look more handsome, more sexier, more beautiful. And if you don't like the haircut, if they have hair, so you just fix the hair. And there's a lot of things you can fix. Like, what you cannot fix is the heart and
mhm,
and how the principles of the guy. So a
mhm,
lot of things can be fixed. The heart can't be fixed. So that's why I said I like all the options. Like, I'm
mhm,
open because I looking for the heart, and
mhm.
because the other things you can manage or fix it, or talk to the person and say, I think you look better than this way, so we look more beautiful together, and yeah, yada yada yada. So I'm I'm not picky.
Mhm. Well, I mean, I think that's a little bit different than what I was talking about when changing a person. Like, I mean, that's just aesthetics,
Yeah,
right?
so when you
But
buy a
you're
house.
right. But you're right. Like, but you can't change, the soul of the man. You can't change the heart of the man. It's not really going to happen. He has to change that if he wants to change that. You can't do that. So, I mean, to be clear, there are some things you can change, but the important things are ones that have to come intact, and the things you have to accept, the things that, everybody's got quirks. We're all looking for acceptance, and looking for a match. And I think if you find someone you match with pretty well, you enjoy their company, you know
Well, it is like the energy. And going through this subject right now, I'm gonna tell you something that you're gonna love. Like, I'm into this tantra, I'm
Mm,
already started with
love it.
Tantra. I went to Mexico to initiate me in Tantra, and I've been having
Mm.
two episodes in my podcast in the bilingual show, the Gloria, talking about in Espanol about Tantra. Is getting big. And the guy said to me yesterday in the interview, I give him, he's 40 years in Tantra. And he said, once you uh, um, align with your Shakti, then you're gonna find your Shiva, and that is your
Mm.
energy. So you have to produce that energy of attraction, so you can attract the men who, or the women who's gonna match with you. But you need to start align that energy. And when he said that, I said, I'm gonna start studying about my Shakti.
Well, that's the divine feminine. That's that
Yes.
feminine energy. That's being able to be receptive and receiving. I mean, I just the other like a month ago, I came across a podcast on YouTube actually, with Dr. John Gray, and he is this author. He's written all these books about relationships, and I read his book, Men Are from Mars, Women Are from
Yes.
Venus. That book, you know that book, right?
Yes,
When I
I
was
know.
like 18. Right?
Yes,
And since
that
then,
book
he
is
has like
old.
so many books, and he has one called Beyond Venus and Mars, and it talks about people like the more modern way the world works and how the roles of men and women, feminine and masculine energies. And it also talks about hormones and people who are, over 40 and in relationships and stuff like that, which I think is really interesting. And one of the things that he was saying was that in when you are connected to your feminine energy, you don't give to women, over give to men when we should be receiving. What we do, they give and we give back. So it's not that we don't give, it's that we reciprocate, right? So it's a cycle of giving and receiving, and that's a lot of times what's missing in relationships, is that women, we're used to doing everything. We work, we take care of the home, well, some of us, and we cook, we clean, some of us, not all of us anymore. Not all of us were, I'm from the generation where we still did that. I don't know that they still do that anymore. But we work and we do all these things. We take care of the kids, we cook, we clean, we all of these things, and we were all, as women, sort of raised like, you take care of your man. But the thing is that mentality stems from when women didn't work,
Right.
right? And so now it's kind of hard for guys, because they're like, well, where do we kind of fit in? Because the roles are different now. It's not really fair to expect your wife to cook and clean and work and do everything, and you just sort of
Yes.
just work and come home and do nothing anymore, right?
Right. But also you can educate your relationship as that we both do this stuff at the same time.
That's what he
But
said.
also, but also there's a lot of spoiled men, and I will say this, a spoiled men that the mother do everything for them, and when they pretend to have a wife, they do the same thing for them. And that happens too much in the Latino culture. Latino mothers, they nurture too much the men, and they don't teach them that they need to help at home. So they want women to do everything, like you just said, because supposedly we are stay at home. But right now, mostly
We don't
women, we
stay
are
at
not,
home anymore.
we don't stay anymore. So what
Hmm.
happened with women of the new generation that are having babies, they need to start teaching those babies that they need to help, that the society start to change, and that
Hmm.
and everything is different. So
You know what I
I
tell
don't
my
know.
kids? My son, I have a teenage boy. I'm raising gentlemen, I'm raising men,
Yes.
right? And I tell them all the time, I say, I do a lot for them because they're my children. But as they start to get older, I start
Yes.
to ask more of them. And that my kids, my teenager right now, can cook, clean, do laundry. He's self-sufficient. He don't like to do it, but he can do it, right? And but I also tell him, be a partner. Be a
Yes.
partner, be a teammate.
Yes. Yes.
Don't expect your wife to do everything for your girlfriend to do everything for you. You know how to do this stuff. You help her, and I guarantee you she'll be happier. Happier. That's the
Totally,
point.
Totally. They will have more time together. The abundance is gonna start raising up because both are in the same thing. Like it's awesome. I would say, we cannot judge anybody because
No.
I don't know how we did it. Like I don't know how we did it. Like how the relationships, because in my case, my mother, I always see what my mother did and it was like, oh my God. And then my grandmother, what she did, and if I see today, I said, oh my God. So those patterns are so strong that this generation, in my case, I start to breaking down because I have a generation that is coming, and I want, like, my daughter and my grandchild to be different. So I'm the one who's like a wake up and say, oh no, this is not good to keep doing the same thing that the grandmother or my mother did. Like sometimes we did stuff as our mothers, and we say, oh my God, my mother did this and I'm doing the same thing. That's not right. So that's when
Hmm.
you're conscious of what you're doing. That you continue in the chain and the same stupid pattern that you learn.
And what you're doing is breaking those ancestral patterns. And that's
Yes,
huge.
huge.
Right? Right?
Sí.
Changing, shifting the energy, changing the whole family going forward. It's like me when I decided that I wasn't beating my kids. Right? That's when I took physical discipline off of the table, that was new. you
Exactly.
know
Exactly.
I don't know, I think I might be the only one in my family that's like, I don't know how, I'm not judging. As everybody, you raise your kids how you deem fit to raise your kids. For me, I felt that it was damaging. It was damaging for me,
Yes.
and I
Yes, for
was
me
not
too.
going to do that to my kids. So but we changed that, and so my kids going forward, that's gone. They weren't raised like that, especially the little one hardly even gets. The older one, I used to raise my voice, even that's gone for the most part. And the little
Yes.
one, I mean, I can't bear to raise my voice at him. His little face wells up with tears, and I feel like shit. I just won't do it. He's just not the kind of kid that can handle that emotionally. And boys' emotions are important,
Yeah, totally.
because if you screw that up when they're little, they're going to be fucked up men out here.
You castrate them. You cut that. If you cut the emotion for them, then they're gonna feel frustrated, and then they're gonna reveal that in a very nasty way later on
Hmm. Yeah, it's
because
very
they are repressed.
that's right. And if no one teaches them how to regulate their emotions, like my friend Brandon Archer said on a previous episode when we talked about men's communication, if you haven't seen it, you got to check it out. Scroll back through the episodes or catch it on YouTube, on the YouTube channel. But it was a really great episode because he talked about emotional regulation of men and how if they did not have a role model, for example, I'm a single mom. My kid's dad is in their life, but he's not always the best example of regulating his emotions. He's better now, but that was a huge factor of why we split up, right? Being able to successfully model how to manage anger in a healthy way was huge. It's a huge deal. And if the kids are, they, because they're in that theta state where they're just absorbing everything and they're watching, you can tell them, but they're watching how you actually do it. So now when I get frustrated, I am very careful about how I show, especially the little one, me, oh, I need to breathe. I need to calm down. I need to take a breath. I need to take a moment. I'm getting too upset. Like trying to teach him how to walk through the process of managing his emotions in a healthy way, right? Instead of flying off the handle and all of that stuff. And the older one, it's more of a work in progress, right?
Of course, because it's going through changes
Hmm.
too.
I mean, it's this is important for men and for women, but especially for men, because a man who does not know how to manage his anger can grow up to be abusive physically to a female.
And the point is if people get conscious of when they have the kids, that those kids are the grown-ups, are the future parents, the future husband, the future wives. So it's not about who did better job in the relationship. Both are very important. Mother and
Hmm.
father are super important,
Super important.
super important, and that's why there's a we because I am in that part that we suffer a lot when we miss one of the uh, mother or father. In my case, I had a very violent father, and my mother very submissive and very vulnerable. So that is also very damaging, because you see that,
Mhm.
and you can go both ways. In my case, I got very how you call defensive, and now not anymore, but before, way before, when I was not conscious, a man talked to me a little bit off, and I was like, why you talk to me that way? You cannot talk to me that way. But like a very defensive is
Very reactive,
because I
like
saw my mother be like that. And I remember like being 8 years old saying, I don't want to have a man like that, like my father. And I always repeat that to my mind. And yes, I never have a man like my father, but I also repeat a lot of stuff that my mother did. So there's like you need to be careful. And that's why people are so focused in their life as other people. If the people are more focused in their own lives, they will find a lot of stuff that we need to fix. And they will, when you fix something, you align the whole family and the whole ancestor part and the generations moving forward.
I agree. And it's beautiful to make those changes. And just to be clear, a woman with unresolved anger can be physically abusive to a man as
Of
well.
course, of
So I
course.
think it's what we see growing up, like you were saying. And if we don't see healthy ways to handle that or find that along our journey through healing our own inner child wounding and our own traumas, like, we've done, you have to put in the work. It's ugly a lot of times, it's painful a lot of times, what you have to go through to feel it, to heal it, as they say, but it's so worth it. And especially when you're going to have kids, you know?
Kia, the other day I was watching a YouTube video of a very wealthy man,
Mm-hmm.
and he's single, and he was talking to men, and describe to men a different kind of type of women. And he said that the most dangerous women are the women that we have issues with the father.
Mm.
And he said in a way like stay away from those women. And it's like
Mm.
what? Like and he said the most dangerous women are the women that have father issues, just like that.
Wow. I mean, I could see how that could be an issue. But I also could think the most vulnerable women are the women with who have father issues. Because if you didn't grow up with a father, you have no idea how a man is supposed to treat you, or you grew up with a father like my stepfather was not. I don't even know that I could call him that. I think my mom's boyfriend was
Yes,
not
yes.
a good example of a male figure. Then that could be issues. Fortunately for me, although my father died when I was very young, he was amazing. And so my memories of him are awesome. That could so I don't I am blessed and fortunate to not have those kinds of father issues. That's one thing that went in my favor, but I understand them, and I know a lot of girls who have them. I don't know if I would say they can either be very dangerous or they can also be the most vulnerable and at risk to be mistreated.
It was a
And
very
that's my
harsh.
opinion.
It was a very harsh comment that he did, and I said, when he said that, I said, well, so I'm a very dangerous woman too,
You are a
based on
very
what he
dangerous
said.
woman. Just another way. Just in other ways.
you know,
but I mean,
Gloria the Dangerous.
mm, if you like danger, that one right there. No, but I mean, I don't know about. I think that's pretty harsh, and
And he
I
said,
mean,
stay away. They was telling to men, stay away from men that have other issues. Like, stay away. I would say,
well, but
I
what,
say mostly women have other issues.
but what about um men who have mother issues, like mother wounds? Lots of us have mother and father wounds, right?
In some
So
way, in some
so
way.
so what about, what about men that don't have a good relationship with their mother? Because fair
Yes.
enough, I'm saying, wow, that seems kind of harsh from that guy, because what about this, right? But also, I've heard many times, just to play devil's advocate,
Yes, of
that
course.
if a guy has mother issues, you should stay away from him, you know? Because if a guy doesn't have a respect or a good relationship for his mother, how's he going to treat you? Is he going to have respect or a good relationship for you? What do you think about that?
Well, it's very complex that answer, because what about the guy is working on himself and he wants to try to change that, and he saw that, but he don't want to do that to his women,
It's true. I
right?
mean, see, so I guess that's my point about all of this, that topic is that there's variables. Nothing is ever so cut and dry
Step
as
and
all,
stone,
you know,
no.
when you stay away from someone who will punch you in the face.
Yes.
Stay away from that person. Stay away from the person who will spit on you. Stay away from the person who cheats on you
Exactly.
repeatedly and repeatedly and repeatedly. Someone who doesn't have respect for you or your feelings, you know, someone who disregards you, you know, stay away from those people. You know what I mean? I saw a video today. It disturbed me. I guess is why I'm bringing it up, is because I saw it's. I guess it was a former NFL player, and it was footage of him assaulting his wife or girlfriend in front of the child. And as an empath, if you're empathic, you have to be really careful on what you let in. And I just keep seeing it, and it was so horrifying. And he was clearly in a rage. I don't know, probably some people who are watching this have probably seen it and know what I'm talking about. But he was in such a rage that he was gonna walk away, and then he turned around. I think the TV fell on her or something, or it fell over, and he just wouldn't stop. And it's like that kind of anger, that kind of person, they're not always easy to get away from when you're with them. But
Mm,
it's, you know, I say that's who you stay away from, you know. I mean, if it happens once, it's likely going to happen again. Get out early, get away quickly when you see the
yes.
red flags. Talk to somebody, don't keep it a secret. Talk to people, get second and third opinions on this behavior that you've just witnessed that's not cool. And like we said in the beginning, it's a choice. It's a choice. You can choose. Some people choose to stay because of the money or the status or the power, and that's your choice. No
Exactly.
judgment. No judgment.
Exactly.
You
No.
know, if you want to take that, then it's your choice. It's no judgment, right? It pains me to see people suffer, but but that's your choice. We're just talking our opinion, right?
Exactly.
Right. But that kind of thing, like, it takes a toll mentally, emotionally, and physically, and definitely if there's children involved, it's very damaging for the children to witness that kind of treatment. What
Yes.
and women do it too. So I'm not trying to be high and mighty.
Oh,
Women do
yes.
it too. I
Yes.
just saw this whole thing about Johnny Depp. I don't know what's true or what's not, but it sounds terrible. Just
Yes.
like,
So what do you say to women and men right now for Christmas that are going through divorce, separation, breakup? They lose someone because it passed away, and this Christmas is gonna be a little bit different for them. What will be your message today?
look for the helpers is one of the favorite things that one of my favorite podcasters says. Paul Rykoff from, it used to be Angry Americans, now it's called Righteous Americans, I think it's called. No, it's Righteous Media. It's Independent Americans, I think.
Mhm.
Anyway, so he always says look for the helpers in his on his Instagram, and I think that's what I would say. Look for those people that care about you, those people that have been trying to show you kindness or compassion, and lean into that. You know, if you can, like my friend who just showed up and I was trying to reject her. I was trying to say no, it's not a good time. She saved me that Christmas. So look for those people who care. Reach out to people that care about you, that maybe you haven't talked to in a while, but they care,
Right.
right? And if you can avoid going through it alone, do that. Now, if there's absolutely no way, and there's so many ways to connect with people now, you can do it this way or over the internet. You can do it via phone, text, whatever, to connect with people. There's even apps now. I belong to this app Signal where you can text message somebody and your message will disappear. So if you don't want anyone to see it, you can do it that way, but communicate with people. Don't be alone. And if for some
No.
reason you have no one, and there's just no one, you don't even have a pet, like you're completely alone this holiday season, you know I always recommend journaling and write your feelings out. And then the next thing I do when I'm going through things and I'm feeling less happy, I'm typically very happy, even when it seems like I'm typically very happy. When I'm less happy, I guess is the word I'm looking for, I find things that I enjoy, right? Like I like movies, and I have like three movies that I always watch if I'm sad because I know that they will make me laugh. I always watch A Million Ways to Die in the West, Ted, or Ted 2 if I'm sad. They always make me laugh. And I will fill my time listening to music I love, watching things on TV to distract me, a comedy, drama, something to take my mind off of me, a distraction. And sometimes you just need a distraction for a day or two, to get through it. And then you start to feel better, you know, and reach out to people. And if all else fails and you're feeling very, very low, call the suicide hotline. Reach out to someone,
Yes.
that's there, you know.
Kia, I have a better one.
Tell me.
Well, if you feel alone, see Hot Topics, the podcast, and the bilingual show, The Gloria. Get a glass of milk and wait for Santa.
Hi, stranger.
Hey,
Where have you
Cindy!
been? I'm happy to see you. Happy
Me
holidays,
too.
honey.
Happy Merry Christmas.
It's just us two girls hanging out.
Yeah,
This is the last episode of Hot Topics for the year. I
for
am
the
taking
year.
another holiday break, which means next week there will be no episode. And all of my wonderful co hosts that have been with me this year are taking a break as well. Thank you to them for coming and doing this with me. And I couldn't finish the year without who I started the year with, and
Yes,
that's my
that was
beautiful
awesome that he
Gloria.
connect today.
Yeah. See, I love that. And we just talked
Yes.
all about divorce, relationships, spending the holidays alone. What else did we talk about, Gloria?
I get excited just to see the picture he have in his profile. See that? So sexy with those muscles.
You do. Yeah, you need distractions from work. If you see, this is why companies like Google have nap pods, because you need to be able to get away from work for a little bit in order to work better. So
Exactly.
maybe that sort of explanation will work for your boss. Tell them you'll increase your profit
Tenda, I told your boss
by
that,
being distracted.
yeah, I told your boss that send like we can make like a publicity for him so we can, all your employees can see us to make them happy, feel better.
Happy employees are more efficient and they work
Co-
better.
Of course.
Okay, thereby increasing your revenue.
Exactly. Especially Thursday at 3 p.m. Eastern time.
That's right. So, well, my love, Gloria, we are at
Yes.
1 hour and 3 minutes. So, we're going to
Yes.
wrap up the show soon. I think we have time to talk about maybe one more thing before we
Yes. Go
close the
ahead.
show. So,
You are the
now that
boss here.
we talked about being alone, we talked about divorce, we talked about um managing your emotions and anger and everything like that. But let's talk about what's coming for the new year. So, what's coming up for you this year?
Okay, for me, I still looking for my house, so I hoping to find my new place. My book is gonna be I probably in July, August, maybe my book is gonna be that time, and continue with my show. I'm going in February to Mexico for 7 days for another tantra event, and probably I'm going to Spain for a month in August for a
Mm.
training for 5 days, tantra days. And if I can handle those 5 days, then I'm gonna go into a 10-day program. So to know more about tantra, to practice the Shakti, to attract
Mm.
my Shiva.
Ooh, girl, I think that sounds amazing. And that divine energy for the divine feminine, divine masculine is so critical. And I think if we're balanced within ourselves and we find a partner who is balanced within themselves, whether it's divine masculine energies and feminine energies, testosterone and estrogen, that's a whole big deal, especially in our age group. Um, if you can find someone that's balanced, then you're more likely to match.
you
And
know
if you match, you're more likely to choose each other every day
yes.
and every year, and then it could be
IKEA,
forever.
tantra is, imagine you having another person that start making love to you since he cook for you or you cook for him, and then you you taste the food, and you do,
Mm.
oh, this is good, delicious, and then you touch your skin, then you smell all over, and it gets longer and longer and longer. And my friends say
Mm.
that they start on Fridays, for example, after work, and sometimes they finish Sunday. And that doesn't mean they are doing, the tiki tiki thing all the time. It's just like, it's just a like, they're goddess. The naked bodies, they eating in the bed with fruits and stuff. It's like enjoying themselves. And they say they have a orgasmic, cosmic, orgasmos, cosmic orgasmos from the heart. So I wanna have that experience.
That sounds fun. Valley says, "Hi, Valley."
Hey,
Valley
Valeria.
says she was in Mexico and a retreat, a tantra mantra
Ah,
retreat.
yeah. Oh, see,
Mm,
so she knows what I'm
yeah, she
talking.
knows what you're talking about. I want to go. That
Yeah,
sounds
we should
fun.
go. We should go together.
It sounds like a fun time. I
Yeah.
like a resort in Mexico, honey.
Yeah, they teach us to breathe and get the pheromones out and be like nice. And Merry Christmas too, Tendai.
Mm.
Yes,
Prosperity, success,
yes,
happiness,
yes.
love in your new
Love.
year in 2022. 222, I learned from our guest, Sarah Laminen, that 222 is about partnership. So
Really?
perhaps 2022 will be about relationships and partnerships that are prosperous. So,
Yes.
yeah.
So
So,
what about
oh,
you? What is the things for you in 22?
wow, I have a lot going on in 2022. I mean, I will be traveling more. That's my goal. And I will have a book that will finish. That should come out by the end of the year. It's
The
my
one that
book
you the one that
anthology.
you do in the collaboration?
Yep, it's a group of female veterans sharing their stories, inspiring stories, and so that should come out at by the end of next year. What else do I have going on? It's time for me to work on my documentary, so I've been working on putting like just the pre-production work this year, and so I'll be looking for funding for that starting probably January and February timeframe, and I'm really putting that together. So next year is the year to go really hard on that and make it happen. And still working with London Real and growing. I founded Magnum Opus Multimedia last year, and so it's time to start really bringing that to life. Continuing on with my podcast, also Shout out to my sponsor, Grunt Style. Check out gruntstyle.com. They have apparel. It's really patriotic if you're in the United States or if you love guns, wherever you are. They have a lot of gun stuff for hunting, fishing, like it's clothing, it's apparel. For kids, men, women, lots of stuff. It's a good company. They're veteran owned. They hire veterans. They have a great foundation that works with mental health and veteran homelessness. And so I like them. So they're my sponsor. So go check them out. And if you use code Baker, you get a discount on your first purchase. I think it's
That's
10%.
awesome.
Yeah. So check that out. And let's see. Oh, Valley says that Deva Premal. That's who your Tantra retreat was with. Oh, yeah. Okay. So you went twice. I get it. Nice. Oh, you guys have a lot to talk about with your your stories for Tantra resorts, and sounds
Yeah,
exciting. And maybe I
so
can fit one
excited.
in this coming year in 2022.
Yes,
It
you
would be
have
really
to. You
fun.
have to go. You have to go.
um. Oh. Yeah, have fun thinking about a cosmic orgasms and tantra at work there. Think about it all day, and then when you get home, show your wife what you were thinking about, and then she can
Yes.
thank us later. So, thank you, Valley. Thank you. Yep. That's going to be the first one, and there's plans for a second one after that. But I don't want to get too ambitious because I get overwhelmed, and then I'll stop doing everything. So slowly but surely, a little bit of progress on each project that I'm working on, and 2022 should be a really big year for me. And I know I've been saying this for a while, but I think if we could get this sort of pandemic shit under control, maybe I'll
I
date
think it's getting
somebody.
worse. I think it's getting worse, Kia.
You do.
Yes.
I know I was going to travel in January and I changed my
I
plans.
think London is going to start to close.
Yeah. Well, they said in
Mm.
the beginning this shit would have a lot of variants. And here we're seeing it happen. So hopefully we can get it under control and we can, maybe I can actually go out somewhere so I can start dating. We'll see. Like I say, I never see anything I like, but when I do, they know. And if it
I'm just
sticks,
gonna.
you'll know.
I'm just gonna activate my Shakti.
Don't,
And
it'll come to you. It'll come to
exactly,
you.
it will
You know what
come
I
to
mean?
me.
Well, you have to see what you like, and then your Shakti will be activated, and they'll pick up that your signal, and
Right,
they'll
the
be like,
signal. Woo, woo, woo,
I'm
woo.
gonna activate my signal on New Year's Eve at midnight. That's what, like the bat
I'm gonna send
signal.
you a video so you can activate your Shakti.
I'm gonna put it out on New Year's Eve and activate my signal and see
Yes,
what comes back in
yes.
2022. If I'm engaged like very quickly, mind your business. If I'm suddenly like, hi, Gloria. I imagine my Shakti will be very strong. She's been chilling for a minute now. It's time for her to be active.
It's time to take her out. She was been for many years in retreat. So now it's
I know. She's been within, working on her inner child, doing her healing work and becoming her best self. And now she's ready to, see what's up. Oh my gosh, Gloria, it's always so fun to hang out with you. I can't wait until the next time. I will see you in 2022.
totally.
We're going to see each other in person in 2022
Of
and
course.
have a blast. So I can't
And
wait
then
for that.
you're gonna see the babies coming in my family.
Yeah, I love babies, especially when I don't have to birth them and I can hold them and love them and then give them back and sleep at
Yeah.
night.
Yes, yes, yes.
Perfection.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I guess we better wrap it up. Thanks
Yes.
everybody for tuning in. We love you. Happy holidays. Have a wonderful Christmas. Reach out to people, connect. And whether, however you connect, whether it's via internet or in person or phone or whatever, but connect and spread some love and have a wonderful and blessed, happy new year with lots and lots and lots and lots and lots and lots of prosperity. Oh, Valley.
Oh, oh.
So I think I said at the beginning, I've almost been single for 5 years, almost. So, mhm,
That Shakti,
it's
that Shakti is a little bit.
all I'm going to say is the next guy that I date is going to be a very, very, very lucky man. And we'll just leave it at that. Yeah. So that's my answer, Valley. And I love being single. That's part of the problem. Like I
You
really enjoy it. I
really?
really enjoy being single. Like it's kind of my favorite. So it's really hard for me to want like he will have to be you will know he's something really special because for me to give up my independence and to be because I like to be somewhat submissive. So in order for me to do that, he's got to be a very strong man and he's definitely got to bring a lot to the table and be a lot of fun. That's probably the most important thing. He's got to be really fun and smart. I really am attracted to smart men. So
No.
yeah.
I'm gonna enjoy to be single for a little while, but not too while, not too long. But I want to have somebody. Oh yeah, because I need to practice tantra. So
You gotta practice.
yeah. But it's better when you practice with another one. So
Of
I can have this
course.
cosmic orgasmos.
Cosmic orgasmos are better when they're two.
Of course, expansion.
I love it. I love it. Well, 2022 is a year for Tantra,
Oh
cosmic
yes,
orgasms, and
totally,
success.
totally.
And not being single
No, no,
anymore.
no,
So
no. You
cheers
and me,
to that.
we're gonna have rings.
When it's right and you
Of
just know
course,
it and
of
you
course.
just do the shit is what it is. But when you do all the healing work and you've gone through the depths of hell to go in and assess your attachment style and your inner child wounding and reparent yourself and you do all this work on yourself so that you're whole and healed for yourself and then you add tantra on top of that, then you can come into a new relationship really ready to make the best experience possible. And when you
See
take
what
responsibility,
see what Valeria said?
she
Yes,
said
Tantra
tantra
is
is
the.
best with a
Of
partner.
course.
Yes, I'm looking forward to that. So, uh, 6 years. Yeah, you must like being single too, Valley. I really like it. Like it's nice to like because I kind of I mean I don't mother my guys because it's but I do like to take care of them. I am a bit old fashioned, right? So I do like it's a lot more work. It's just like it's a lot more work for
I
me
don't know.
when
I
I'm
I
with a partner.
I like to be with a partner. I love that. Like I need to follow what somebody told my father long time ago. Your daughter's gonna marry 7 times. So you know what?
Girl, I will keep getting married. I love being married. I also love being single. That's the thing. But I also think when you have to heal, when you come out of my marriage was 13 years. That's a long time.
Mine's
And I
14.
needed
Yes.
time
Me
to
too.
heal. And I don't date. See, if I date, it'd be different. I don't really date. I'm a girlfriend type. So I see a guy who's gonna be my boyfriend, and then that's what happens. Right? Like, and then we're in a long-term, somewhat at least several months to years relationship. So in between that, I need to be single for a while and just, do my thing. And then after that, I decide that I'm going to get in a relationship. And then when I'm really sure, then I do. Exactly,
Of
Valley.
course, of course, of course. Yes, 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 yes. That's what we're learning right now.
Exactly. That's what we're
Yes,
doing right
yes,
now.
yes.
And that's what I'm doing. I'm loving myself unconditionally, I'm giving and I'm overflowing. So because I'm so full now, I worked on myself, I did all this work, and I spent this time alone, and my cup is full. It's running over. And so now I can share that. I can share my overflow and with a partner.
Well, life is too short that yes, I'm gonna work in myself, unconditional love and everything, but you know what? If something come along that I really like, why not?
Why not? You got to do
Yeah,
what
of
feels right for
course.
you at the time,
Life is too
is what I
short.
always say. Whatever it is that you're feeling and you feel good to do it. Life is meant to be enjoyed. It's meant to be fun and pleasurable. There's too many people walking around miserable because they forgot that. We're here
Yeah.
on this earth to learn and experience and eat life and drink life and have fun and make
Yes.
love and just
Yeah,
enjoy our
yes.
moments. And
Yes.
instead, we make these choices that land us in misery, and then we're too afraid to change them. Well, I'm not afraid.
Kia, you find a beautiful man, and then because you have a conditional love, you don't have high expectations. So you just thrill with that guy and have that moment, and whatever happens, whatever happens.
Yeah, if you vibe and you connect and you
Yes.
can deal with their flaws, like it's not too much for you. It can work. It can be a very beautiful thing to
Yes.
connect with someone and to enjoy them, and not put pressure on it. Like, oh, we have to get married and we have to do and we have to.
No.
I don't have any of that. I just want to have fun and enjoy time together. And if those days build up into the day I die, then awesome. And if not, then I will choose at that time what's best for me and best for us, which would be to part ways. And I'm fearless in that regard now, you know?
I want a guy to spoil me, like
Mhm.
in every angle. Spoil me and spoil me and spoil me.
I like that idea, but I
Yes.
like to spoil too. So it has to be a cycle of giving and receiving for
No, of
me, of
course I
spoiling.
give, but I like
R-
I like I want to be like the little girl. Spoil me, baby, spoil me. I
What
want
girl
that.
doesn't want to be spoiled? We all want to be spoiled, every single one of us. And every guy too wants
Yeah, I
to be
was spoiled
spoiled.
too, but I like
Mhm. Yeah.
spoil me,
So it's
baby.
clear, if you're watching this and you're thinking of hitting us up, be prepared to spoil us
Sí,
because we
sí, sí.
like that. And we will spoil you back, but be prepared. If you're not coming to spoil, don't come at all. Or something. I don't know.
we, we need to wrap it up.
Because we will just keep going on. Merry Christmas, everybody. Happy New
Merry
Year. Happy
Christmas.
holiday, whatever you celebrate. It's been fun. I'll see you next year. And we love you. Thank you so much for watching. And exactly what you said, Valley. I appreciate you for watching. Don't forget to follow me
Yes.
on Instagram at Creativity, at Hot Topics the Podcast, at the Female Veterans Podcast, whatever you're into, follow me there. Check out my sponsor at gruntstyle.com. And I will stay with you, Valley, forever. Absolutely. And
No, I think this is the question we should never say to a guy or the guy say to us.
will you stay with
Mm.
me forever? Fuck that.
No, no. Not forever. Because then you just sign for the next life, and in the next life you need to be free too.
Look, I will say this. I will say if I'm having fun with a guy and we'll let those days add up. If they add up to
Yes.
forever,
Yes.
then that's what it is, you know.
Open.
That's what it is. I think you could if you met the right person, you could see forever in them. I will say that.
Oh yes.
I will say that.
Me too.
So, yes. But there's freedom within true love and in a relationship. So the
Yes.
right relationship, you will be happy and free anyway,
Correct.
right? Aw, thanks, George. Thanks, you guys, for watching. We're going to wrap it up here. We love you. See you next year.
Bye
I'll be
bye.
back on Thursday, first week in January. See you then.
Bye bye. Ciao
Bye.
ciao.